Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. WildMax1 here, bringing another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be doing another champion guide on one of the recent additions to my account that has surprised me in a great way. And I'm talking about the Magic Affinity support champion from the Dwarf faction, Osgrun the Defiler. This champion has an amazing kit. Today we'll be breaking down that kit, showing you how to build him for maximum effectiveness in both PvE and the arena, and finally doing an arena showcase. So with that, let's jump right in. So Osgrun was released in July of 2025 and kind of fell under a lot of players' radar, unfortunately, because he was released right around the same time that Titus Blackplume and Krokod the Throat Ripper were coming out, and they were the two biggest fusions of 2025 so far as the filming of this video. But this dwarf is absolutely a game changer for a lot of accounts. He is primarily going to be an amazing arena asset. He's got amazing crowd control. He is such a menace, especially with that arena aura, which is competitive with some of the best in the game. But he's also really, really good at supporting your team and getting damage out of your team in any content, along with offering an incredible ally attack and the rare shatter buff. So with that, let's take a look at his kit and see what makes him so special. Starting out with his A1, Obsidian Blade attacks one enemy has a 50, booking up to 75% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random active skill for 2 turns. Also fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%. This is an incredibly powerful turn meter fill on an A1. That's good in all content in the game. And then in the arena, him being a specialist, he also has the increase of the cooldown of a random active skill. Incredibly powerful and can be really, really disruptive to the opposing team if it's used on the right target and gets any one of their skills, really. 2 turns is enough to give your team an advantage in the arena. So very powerful A1 to start off the kit. Moving on now to his A2, Magics of Irith. Has a 75 booking up to 100% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies. This is on a 5-turn, booking down a 3-turn cooldown. Then decreases the turn meter of all enemies whose turn meter is equal to or lower than 50% by 20%. Okay, so 20% TM drop if they're 50 or below. If an enemy's turn meter is more than 50, decreases it to 50 instead. Oh, wow. So that has potential to be one of the strongest turn meter drops in the game. So it could be very, very little, right? So if they're at 55%, it goes back down to 50. It's only a 5% turn meter drop. But if their turn meter is over 100% in the arena, this could potentially reduce it by 60, 70%. This is a massive turn meter drop potentially, along with a buff strip. And we're not even done yet. Has a 75% chance of stunning for a turn any enemies whose turn meter was reduced to 50%. Okay, so even if it did drop it by only 1%, he's going to be stunning them afterwards. So this is very disruptive. This is one of the most disruptive abilities, I think, in the game in terms of removing all buffs. So that includes anything that's going to potentially prevent the stun from landing. So he could potentially strip off Stone Skin, block debuffs, and then he's got a chance to throw on the stun. And on top of that, he's dropping turn meter as well. Wow, this is an incredible, very disruptive ability. Really good in all content, especially in the arena, but also has its uses in places like Chimera. If the Viper form happens to steal some of your buffs, or in Hydra, if the Head of Mischief does the same thing. Any wave-based content, especially in Faction Wars, where you have some of those waves that just stack on all the buffs, make it difficult to do anything. He's just going to be stripping it all off and potentially stunning them. Devastating A2. On his A3, To Death Unsurrendered. Teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. Allies are going to be using their A1s. Before attacking, puts a big increased attack buff and a shatter buff on all allies for 2 turns. If you don't know what shatter is, that is essentially ignore percent defense. So 7.5% ignore percent defense and increased attack on all allies for 2 turns. Then decreases the cooldown of all allies' skills except this champion by 1 turn if the target is killed. 6 turn, booking down to a 4-turn cooldown. So now he's joining the ranks of all of the great ally attackers in the game, except he's not only bringing increased attack, he's bringing shatter as well, which is one of the rarer debuffs. Increased attack, you can find that on a lot of champions. Increased crit damage, you can find on a lot of champions. But shatter is something that a lot of champions, if you don't know, the closer you get to 100% ignore defense, the stronger building ignore percent defense becomes. So having more sources of it outside of something like a Cat's Gaze, Helm Smasher, a set that you're using, this is excellent. This is making him probably one of the strongest ally attackers in the game, coupled with the fact that he's got potential to decrease ally active skills. Amazing A3. Finally, let's check out his passive, Dark Whisperings. Got a passive and active effect here. Passive effect is allies inflict 20% more damage against enemies under stun. And he does provide the stun with his A2. And on the active effect on a 4-turn cooldown, whenever an ally is killed, instantly activates his A2 and will not put it on cooldown. This will only trigger once for every Osgrun on a team. Very, very strong for the arena. You can already see the implications here. Let's say you start out the match, everybody on your team's under stone skin, and on the opposing team you see somebody like a Mezamel or an Onryo, someone else that can cut directly through and take out your champions through stone skin. They take out one of your champions. It's not Osgrun. Osgrun's passive then triggers. A2 goes off. He strips all buffs on the opposing team, decreases turn meter, potentially stuns them, and then any stun targets are 20%, taking 20% more damage from your champions. This is a huge momentum swinger. Anytime you see an ability like this that triggers automatically and can completely disrupt what an opposing team is doing, very, very powerful. I would love it if this wasn't triggered specifically by an ally getting killed, but if it wasn't, maybe it'd be too powerful. This is a very strong ability, considering how powerful and disruptive this A2 is in Arena. Having it not even go on cooldown is amazing. Can't wait to try this guy out. So now, the aura, as already mentioned before, is an Arena aura, 28%. Not the fastest, but still makes it a great Arena aura to use, and that truly is where his kit is kind of geared towards. Although this A3 does give him a lot of relevance, and the turn meter boost on his A1 does give him a lot of relevance in PvE content. It's going to be Arena where this dwarf really shines. So now let's take a look at his total stats here. We've got almost 20k HP, great. 1100 attack. He's an attack-based champion, but again, you're not really going to be using him as a damage dealer, so it doesn't matter. Defense at 1100, not the worst. Speed, almost 110. That's fine. That's right up there next to Marichka territory. That's great. And the rest is pretty standard. So when you're going to be building your Osgrun, you already know you want to make sure that you're going to be removing all buffs from the opposing team. You want to make sure that you're going to be decreasing turn meters. You want to make sure that stun lands. You want to be having him increase the cooldown on their active skills. So this is going to be all about accuracy. So make sure that he's got sky-high accuracy. Make sure he's got great speed, and then build him with some survivability. And that's going to be the most important for your Osgrun. So now let's talk about the best possible way to build your Osgrun the Defiler, starting off with PvE content. So we already know Osgrun's bringing 2 buffs for your team, one of them being pretty unique with the Shatter on that A3. So I would put him in 9-piece protection. That way he's got good speed. You're making sure those buffs are protected in content like Chimera or in Hydra, where they could be stripped off or stolen. And you're also giving your damage dealers 10% more damage by having those 2 buffs on them placed by Osgrun. So 9-piece protection, probably going to be the #1 option for PvE content. If you don't have that, and chances are that you may have trouble acquiring some of the accessories necessary for that, in that case, while you're waiting for those accessories to come in, the best thing you can do is put them in sets that are going to get that A3 off cooldown faster. So sets like Relentless that are going to help you cycle through turns, sets like Reflex, sets like Impulse, and sets like 4-piece Merciless are all going to help you get that A3 off cooldown, and that would be my next choice. If you don't have any of that available, in that case, you know that you want accuracy, you know that you want speed, so one of the best, most accessible sets that you can use is going to be Perception. So 6-piece Perception is going to be the go-to after that. If you're primarily going to be focusing on Arena with your Osgrun, however, and I highly recommend that you try him out there, then I would say that the most important thing to do is to put him in at least 1 turn Stone Skin. Today's Arena, you want to make sure he survives. You want to make sure he's not getting CC'd into oblivion. You want to make sure that he's not having his turn meter reduced and that he can still do stuff. And because of the way that that passive works, the way it triggers when one of your allies gets taken out, you want to make sure that he stays in Stone Skin so that he can actually have that benefit your team if one of them does get taken out, if one of your damage dealers or someone else does get taken out. So #1 priority is going to be getting him in at least 1 turn Stone Skin. Can be 2 turn Stone Skin if you want, but I think that after that, I would pair him up personally with sets that would increase his speed because he really benefits from a lot of speed. So I would probably put him with like 1 turn Stone Skin, 1 turn Supersonic. That way he can have a chance to cut in on the opposing team, strip whatever buffs they just put on that triggered that 4-piece Supersonic, and then potentially turn meter reduce or stun them. After that, I would consider putting him in pinpoint. He does apply stun, so he is going to be vulnerable to sheep, wands of submission, so pinpoint does help with that. After that, maybe feral, or you can just end up going with speed set, or you can end up going with the aforementioned perception. All good options. So now let's take a look at how I have my Osgrun built. You can already tell from looking at the pieces here, I am going to be focusing on the arena with him. We have a 1-turn stone skin build here along with impulse at pinpoint and 1 odd feral accessory just for a little bit more accuracy on my champion. For my ring, we have him in HP. This can either be HP or defense. I would recommend just going survivability right here. For the amulet, same thing, HP or defense is fine. For the banner, accuracy, HP or defense, depending on whether you've already met your accuracy caps if you're just going for PvE, but for PvP, you obviously want as much as you can get. For the gloves, HP percent or defense percent, both are good. For the chest, HP percent, defense percent, or accuracy, depending on whether, once again, you've met your accuracy requirements or if you're just going for as much as possible. And then for boots, I would recommend going speed no matter what. For my total stats on my Osgrun here, we have 70k HP, 2.8k-ish defense, 342 speed, and 656 accuracy. With that, I plan on tackling most arena content. I'm still going to try to get that accuracy a little bit higher, but I am very happy with this build, and so far it's been working out great. For relics, quite a few good options that you have for your Osgrun the Defiler. So I decided to go with an accuracy stat stick. I just wanted to increase my accuracy, and so we see here Exozar's Totem has primary accuracy right here. Perfect option for me, and it happened to have a pretty decent effect considering how much crowd control there is going out in arena. But if you're not interested in something budget like a Molten Death Bell or an accuracy stat stick like Exozar's, in that case, you're looking for best of the best. For the arena, number one choice is going to be Wand of Submission. With the fact that he's going to be bringing stun, how much polymorph, and how many Wands of Submissions there are in the arena, this is going to be very important for him to keep himself safe and free of crowd control. So number one choice for arena, Wand of Submission. And for PvE, I think the single best relic that you can put him in right now is actually a fairly budget one, and that is the Perched Shadow. Great stats on it. He likes the survivability, and this is effectively a relentless set on a relic. This is going to help him cycle through his abilities and get to that A3 faster, which is primarily what you want to be using in PvE content. For my blessing, I decided to go with Lightning Cage. He is only 1-star awakened, so I wanted to have something that would actually be very useful, and in this case, Lightning Cage helps protect the stone skin in the arena to make sure that he's able to get to his turn and actually start disrupting the opposing team. Once he gets higher up in Awakenings, I could consider switching him to something like Intimidating Presence or Temporal Chains or Life Harvest. All of those give you some great benefits in the arena, and of course, you can always decide to go with Polymorph, especially since he is going to be built with a lot of accuracy, so you don't even have to wait for that 6-star. You can build him in the Polymorph anytime. And for PvE content, for places like Fire Knight, I would consider putting him in a Phantom Touch just to get more hits on that Fire Knight shield. And finally, to round out the build, let's check out the Masteries that I chose. So I came down, Pinpoint Accuracy, Charge Focus, and Swarm Smiter, as much accuracy as possible on him. Give him a chance to get more turn meter for that Shatter and increased attack buff that he has. Lore of Steel for more stats. Came down and picked up Eagle Eye for the most possible accuracy. Lasting Gifts for increasing the duration on his 2 buffs. Then for secondary tree for the arena, I really like picking up Improved Parry. Helps against the crits that he's going to be receiving. Coming down, picking up Resurgent for a chance to remove debuffs. Less damage from Delayed Death. And his A1, very effective, so giving him a chance to counterattack is also great with Retribution. If you're just going for PvE content, however, in that case, I would scrap going all the way down for Eagle Eye and come down the offense tree and go and take Deadly Precision, Keen Strike, and then go straight down the left side, ending off with War Master for more % max HP damage on bosses, which could be very helpful. And then for secondary, I'd probably end up coming down still the support tree just to pick up that extra accuracy, along with some nice extra stats and lasting gifts. For the first arena showcase in today's video, we're going to be going up against a team with Fabian, Necrit, Embrys, and Galathir. Pretty devastating looking. The team that we've chosen here is with Osgrun as our lead with that 28% aura. We've got our damage dealer, Onryo. We've got UDK and Ancora there. just to help keep everybody alive, especially Onryo, who needs a little bit extra help. So let's go in on manual and see what we can do against this team. So again, as I mentioned earlier, the nice thing about Osgrun is even if this Fabian gets the skill increase cooldown on my whole team, my Osgrun's A1 is actually still pretty devastating by being able to put the opposing team's skills on cooldown and increase my team's turn meter. So we're going to go ahead and go in with, I kind of want to see how much damage this Onryo is going to do. I think I actually have a chance to take out the Onryo using my A3 here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do that. With the shatter buff, so close, not quite there. No problem. All right, let's increase our turn meter here, and Onryo still gets a turn. So here we're going to be able to see what this champion can do here. Amazing champ. Okay, I'm going to take him out, then through Stone Skin. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it with the Necrit damage reduction on him, but we're going to try anyway. And wow, able to take out both champs. It's a little bit of an Onryo showcase here. So now we're going to go in with that A2 and see what we can do. We remove buffs. We have stunned. Absolutely devastating. Two of their champions already locked down. So now we can go in, do some more damage. The stun is just such a game changer, the fact that that's part of the kit. Because if it was just turn meter reduction, they would still be able to come back from that turn. But here, all that turn meter that's currently on them is just going to be useless. It's just going to be going towards resetting that stun. And if you didn't know, any champions that are stunned, when they return from stun, they don't get a cooldown back for their skills. So if for example, Osgrun got stunned right now, he came back, he would still be at 4 and 4 for these two skills. Let's see. We increased the cooldown of one of Galathir's abilities there. Very nice. All right, let's see what we can do here. Let's do the same thing. Okay, so let's try to combo off with Onryo. He's gone. And then I'm just going to go in with my A2. Not quite there. Really hoping that we can take out their Embers before he does that. Okay, this might be it. Luckily, the Ancora survived. Now we're going to bring back Onryo. Okay. All right, buddy. I need you to do some work for me here. How can we do this? Let's see. So we've already procced Galathir's passive. I think if we go in with the A1, it should be a triple hitter. We should be able to take him out. Okay. Now, if we are able to kill the Empress, we should stop his block revive. He's going to get taken out, but let's do it. And we got it. It took a little bit extra planning there, but that was a lot of fun, and especially fun to see Osgrun in action right there and how much he enabled Ieyasu's damage. That was great against a pretty strong team right here, and you could see how disruptive it was, that A2. And then, unfortunately, he didn't stay alive for that Empress AoE, but if he had, it would have been nice to see that A2 trigger and potentially stun that Empress or the Galathir after taking out my Onryo, Ieyasu, and my UDK. Next team we're going to be facing off against is one full of lots of crowd control. We have Armans, Fabian, Mikage, and we have Wukong. Let's go in and see what we can do. I'm going to once again hope that he is the fastest champ here so that we can go in with that A3, this time hopefully taking somebody out. Instead, the opposing team starts off with their own ally attack. So now let's go in against the Fabian. Since he is undead, my Onryo is going to be doing an extra hit to him. All right, here we go. And I think we can actually combo off here. There we go. There it is. And it's over. So really, really nice to have the option to either go in and disrupt using that A2 or have that A3 available if you have a really good damage dealer. But if they're slower, for example, like the Onryo, but his A1 is extremely powerful. So Osgrun pairs up really well in ally attack teams. A lot of fun to use. Next team up, we're going to be going in against Arbiter, Fabian, Odin, and Marichka. So unless we have somebody surprise built for a lot of damage, that team doesn't really look like it looks like it's missing some damage, unless this Odin is built for damage. But even then, he only has the one ability. Okay, I see Odin doesn't have a lot of HP right there. We are faster. I don't want Odin's passive to be coming in and being a factor later. So we're going to go in once again with that ally attack and the shatter and everything and take him out. He gets resurrected. Okay, now we have our skills put on cooldown. And Onryo is not looking very healthy right there. So let's see if we can get them to trigger the passive. I actually don't think it will be that easy. I'm going to try to keep Onryo close to death here. You know what? Let's just use the A2. Let's see how devastating this can be. So we have 2 stunned, 3 stunned champions, and then obviously we missed the block debuffs on the Fabian right there, but the whole team pretty much taken out for now, and there goes Odin with his passive. So now we have to wait to do damage. Let's see. All right. So we are going to go with, actually, I think we can do this. Odin, Marichka. This is becoming a Onryo showcase right here. Odin again. Then let's put him down for good, and that's that. So we're gonna next match we're going to showcase. I'm just gonna play this out on auto. Next match I'm gonna try to find an opposing team where we can actually see the passive on Osgrun get triggered right there. I've just been having so much fun with Ieyasu in Arena that it's been hard not to keep using him here in Gold Classic, but we'll find a team here in a moment. All right, here we go. We're gonna just go ahead and drop the UDK here so that we can make sure that either Ancora or Ieyasu goes down so that we don't have to worry about this again. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take out the Fabian if we can. We are able to do it. Very good. All right, now let's go ahead and speed boost. Fabian goes in. I'm just going to go ahead and take him out. There it is. And there is the passive trigger. We finally were able to do it. So we can see here, we did not get the He-Man with that. That's because I do not have my Osgrun fully booked right now. So this is still at a 75% chance, but why not? Let's just go ahead and use it. Further decreasing his turn meter. Now we can bring back Ieyasu, and now he can go ahead and combo off and take out the opposing team. There we go. 1, 2, and we're done. And he's doing 20% more damage, keep in mind, because of that passive part of his passive, as opposed to the active part. So Ieyasu is doing 20% more damage to the Arbiter and to the Korugar there, which means makes it that much more easy for him to be able to reset with his A1. So very powerful enabling with Osgrun. That turnaround from having that active in his passive go off, take the opposing team effectively out of the fight for a little bit, and then allow your damage dealers to come in and overwhelm them is going to be very, very powerful. As long as you can control that stun, polymorph, wand of submission action with Osgrun through things like potentially block debuffs or through pinpoint gear or through a wand of submission, something like that, I could see being very, very powerful and used even in some of the highest levels of live arena. So there you have it, everybody. Osgrun the Defiler, incredible champion, amazing in arena, and great in PvE as well. If you like today's guide, please consider liking and subscribing for more content like this in the future. Let me know down in the comments below if there's any other guides or showcases that you'd like to see on my channel. Thank you for watching today's video. Thank you for your time. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.